right, Taweh. So, what is your business and how do you serve your customers?
My business is a law office. And how do I serve my customers? Well, I try to serve them well. I don't know if that's what you're asking.
And you got sort of customer wants.
Yeah, I think that I agree. I think that's exactly what a customer wants. How do I serve my customers? Well, I try to do good business. Right now, most of my customers are just primarily online. So it used to be before the pandemic that everything was in court, and I'm in court all day, every day. But after the pandemic, when people started working from home and you literally couldn't go to court, physically go to court anymore, it started to be that you would have court by Zoom. And so it shifted within those few years to almost everything is by Zoom. And so because people are now used to Zoom, I don't even meet the majority of my clients until we have a conference, like, or until we have a call with the court or a Zoom hearing with the court. Hearing is just talking to a judge where the judge is going to be there and the parties are there. And so until we have a hearing with the judge, I don't even meet most of my clients. And so I serve most of my clients by trying to be a good lawyer and by showing up when I'm supposed to, getting the work done that I'm supposed to get done.
So you serve them. You serve them on the behind the scenes, preparing to serve them up front.
Yes, most of the work of being a lawyer is working behind the scenes, as you call it, which is being prepared for whatever's coming up next. And I say, like most any business, it's also putting out fires. So if you don't know how to put out fires, your business will never survive. And one of the biggest problems that you have if you're starting a business and it's something that you've never started before, or you don't have a mentor, which I highly recommend volunteering and understanding what the business is that you're getting involved in and how to run that business before you actually jump in, because there are going to be problems. And you need a mentor to help you solve those problems, unless you're just really good at what you do or really good at figuring things out.
Yeah. What piece of inspiration drives you and it could benefit others?
What drives me? I think what drives me is a desire to do well. I was thinking about this on the way here. I was actually talking to my brother. Is why do we accept anything that's less than perfect? Why do we accept imperfection? So one of the things that makes being a lawyer hard is that the standard is perfection. If you do something wrong, you could get yourself suspended. You could get yourself disbarred. The standard is perfection, and essentially you have to do something right all the time. And that's obviously can be very nerve-wracking for anyone involved, and it's very likely why there's a huge, why so many lawyers are alcoholics, because you're putting out fires all the time and you're dealing with stress all the time. And so I'm like, okay, but why is that even a problem? Why have we, in a way, I think, been groomed to think that we don't have to be perfect, or there's something different or wrong about being perfect, when if you really want to have a successful business, the reason we set up systems and processes is to try to deliver the same perfect product every time, or the same perfect experience every time. Yeah. Anyway, does that answer your question?
In the space of law, isn't a lot of what attorneys do on either side is interpret the law in a way where the law isn't perfect. So how do you create perfection in a system that doesn't have perfect rules? Hence why there's attorneys to discuss how those rules are imperfect.
Good question. So we think of the law as being imperfect. and we think of the law as our job is to interpret the law, understand what it says, and if there's an issue, convey that to the judge. Okay. So here is where you want a good attorney, because we, through experience, have a really good idea of what a judge is going to do. Because if you've been before the court, we call the judges themselves are the court. And so if you go before the court and you've been before a specific judge 10 times on the same issue, you got a really good idea of what the judge is going to do. So I know what the law says, but I also know that I'm dealing with a human being in a road. And I've dealt with this person before. And when I dealt with them before, this is what they did. This is probably what they're going to do again. So, but that's like the routine part. But when you get into issues that are new issues, or issues that are, we'll just say new issues, that's when you really want a good lawyer. For instance, I'll give you one that was tough. So I had a guy who, I do primarily family law and business law. Okay, so this is the family law case. He has to pay child support. The way that the law is written is that you pay child support for your first 40 hours that you're working. And so if you have child support, and then if you have two jobs, if you work one job full time, and then, after the case is done, you get another job to help pay child support, you're not going to pay child support on that second job that you're using to help pay your child support. You pay child support in the first 40 hours. Okay. So this guy is a computer guy. These are tech guys. And so he has two jobs that he works at the same time on opposite screens. So now what do you do? Because he's working two jobs within 40 hours, should he pay child support based on, so each job makes $100,000, should he pay child support based on $200,000 or $100,000? And so now we have to figure this stuff out based on what the law says so what's right here? What do we think is right? What do I think is right? Well, he's my client, so of course I wanted to pay him on one job.
Wasn't it 40? Isn't 40 hours the number now?
40 hours is the number.
Right? 80 hours, you're not getting paid on 80 hours. If he's doing 40 hours worth of work, it would seem 40 hours is 40 hours.
Exactly. That's how the judge thinks.
I like it. All right.
Which, of course, the client disagrees with.
Of course.
And so, but I could see how typically two jobs is 80 hours, and typically one job is 40 hours. And so because you have an issue of two jobs in 40 hours, now we have to figure out where we're going to go from here.
Yeah, it seems pretty cut and dry to me. Yeah, because one person's working twice as hard, and what's a moment in your journey that changed everything?
The moment in my journey that changed everything was, all right, so we all have goals. And I was this close to achieving my goals, but I was so stressed, and I'm working 60, 80 hours a week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm this close to reaching my goals, but this isn't it. Mm-hmm. Like, do I want to live a life of never seeing my family, not being able to go on vacation, and not being able to do the things that I want to do? Do I want to live like this forever, or is there a better way to do this? And I believe that there was a better way to do it. And so I said, well, I'm going to figure that out. And so I started changing the way that I do business and focusing on more so, rather than just getting clients to pay bills and pay staff, I'm going to try to get clients that I actually want and cases that I actually like. And let's focus on that. Being broke for a while so that I could fix my business to become something that is way more manageable, is absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. And so when I came to the realization that the stress wasn't worth the extra money, I'd rather take a little more time, build up a client base of people who are easier to deal with and who are not going to stress me out. It was way, I like my business and my life a lot more now.
Very good. You get to a point where you can choose your own work.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
What's something you wish more people understood?
That if you have a good lawyer, they probably know what they're talking about. And that you probably shouldn't argue with them. Because, like I said, we've been before the judge 10 times, and every time we go for the past 10 times, this is what the judge did. And I understand that you want something different, but you're not going to get it.
Different judge?
Different judge. Only things were that simple. You're not going to get it.
Right.
You're not going to get it. So if I'm telling you this, hey, I can't get you that, but we can try for something else. You got to understand that what you are desiring, and usually it's something that has come up later, or they just weren't listening when I told them the first time, because like I said, I don't want to deal with stress. I'm not interested in the stress. And so if someone comes to me and they're like, I just moved out of my house yesterday, I've got 2 kids that they're 9 and 11, and I want full custody. I'm like, that's not going to happen, because you've been there. Both parents have been involved this whole time for 10 years. Why would the judge give one parent over the other when you just moved out yesterday and there's no issues between the two of you? Sure. And so I tell people from the beginning, like, this is what I can do for you, or what you want, I can't get you. And so, but there are some people who just don't listen. It seems to be happening a lot more often now than before. Even though I've explained myself clearly. I try to anyway. I believe I've explained myself clearly. I should say that.
Yeah, and this it's a loaded question I'll follow, but I have to ask. This is an interesting subject to me. Not personally with my own family, but I've seen it. Something I wish I understood better. Do you believe that the Minnesota family court system favors the mother over the father?
I think that if we go by an objective standard, or a law let's go by the law. So one reason that you would say that it favors the mother more is because even though it took 2 people to raise the child, or to conceive the child, keep going back, to conceive the child, the mother has, if the parents are not married when the child is born, then the mother has sole legal and sole physical custody. And that is a good reason to say that the system favors mothers over fathers.
I think that, and that makes sense. I think where maybe comes in different is after that happens, if behavior and things happen after that would indicate that the father, and I say this, we'll talk after. I've got a friend around. I need his eye.
Or a friend. Got it.
And it is a friend. To be clear, I know. But yeah, and my mother was a guardian ad litem. For many.
For you, when you're familiar,
she's a legal, so I get to yeah. I heard all these stories, and she was a great mother for me. And watching her deal with a lot of the stuff too. Yeah. Anyway, we can talk a little bit about this.
I'm going to go back to your question about what we wish more people understood. I get a lot of breadwinners who say the other parent stayed home and I paid the bills. They stayed home and took care of the kids, and I paid the bills. And I'm like, you were able to pay the bills because they stayed home to take care of the kids. That's why you share everything. Absolutely. And that is not a concept that is easily understood by many breadwinners that spend all their time working. And
so they feel guilty about working too much, and
could be. And so what I want to say is, dad is like, I got to work to pay these bills. Mom says, but you're not here you don't spend time with me. You don't take care of the kids. I take care of the kids. And I'm like, you're both right. But both being right ends in divorce. in that situation. So something has to change. And I really wish more people understood that.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting, I think that's a very interesting issue. Because, I mean, and then that circumstance, too, the mother saying home with the kids, or the father, the
Or
bread,
it could be the father.
right? So, but the breadwinner being away, in many ways, money's money, but has less experience in raising those children.
Yep.
So everything is gray.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Will with the Podcast Crew team. Spotlight is a vidcast shot at the Podcast Crew Studios in Minneapolis. We would love for you to be our guest. Email us at the email address on your screen below to get a copy of the upcoming schedule. It's free, it's easy, and it's a great way to try out a podcast or a vidcast with our pro team. We do an in-person, in-studio version if you're in the Twin Cities area, and also an online version if you're somewhere else. We'd love to have you, hear your story, and help you start your podcast journey. Thanks. Get in touch today.